My beloved child. Stop scrolling. Do not move past this moment, because something has been waiting for you, and the timing of your arrival here is not ordinary. Pause for just a little while. What you are about to hear was meant to find you at the exact moment when the old version of you could no longer follow you into the future. Heaven has seen the change. Your spirit has felt the change. And now, the people who once believed they understood you are beginning to realize that they never truly knew what was growing inside you. They are shocked to see the new you. Not because you suddenly became someone else, but because you finally stopped hiding the person you were always meant to become. There is a difference, and that difference is about to change everything. For a long time, you lowered your light so others would not feel uncomfortable. You softened your voice so they would not call you difficult. You accepted less so they would not accuse you of asking for too much. You remained quiet in moments when your soul wanted to speak. You smiled when your heart was tired. You gave explanations to people who had already decided to misunderstand you. But something shifted. Something invisible happened inside you before anyone could see it on the outside. A decision was made in the deepest chamber of your spirit. You may not have announced it. You may not have even known how powerful that decision was when you made it. But heaven heard it. The moment you whispered, "I cannot keep living like this," the atmosphere around your life began to rearrange. Do not skip this, because the next part will explain why certain people have been watching you more closely than usual. They sense that you are no longer easy to control. They can feel that your silence is different now. Before, your silence came from fear, confusion, or exhaustion. Now your silence comes from discernment. Before, you remained quiet because you did not know what to say. Now you remain quiet because you know every truth does not need to be defended. Before, you walked away wondering whether you had done something wrong. Now you walk away knowing that peace is more valuable than proving your innocence to someone committed to misunderstanding you. That is why they are shocked. They expected you to return to the old pattern. They expected you to answer the same way, forgive without boundaries, reopen doors without evidence of change, and keep carrying responsibilities that were never yours. They assumed your kindness meant you would always be available. They confused your patience with permission. They thought your heart would continue to make excuses for behavior that your spirit had already recognized. But the new you does not negotiate with what nearly destroyed you. The new you does not hate anyone. The new you is not cold. The new you is not seeking revenge. The new you has simply learned that love without wisdom becomes self-abandonment. You have learned that forgiveness does not require unlimited access. You have learned that compassion does not mean returning to places where your peace was repeatedly taken from you. You have learned that being chosen does not mean being used. Heaven did not transform you so you could become cruel. Heaven transformed you so you could become clear. And clarity makes people uncomfortable when they benefited from your confusion. Stay until the end, because there is a reason this transformation is happening now, and it is connected to an opportunity that has not yet fully revealed itself. Something is preparing to enter your life, but the old you would not have been ready to hold it. The old you would have questioned it, minimized it, or handed parts of it away to people who had not earned access. The old you might have mistaken peace for boredom and chaos for passion. The old you might have apologized for receiving what you prayed for. That is why the change had to happen before the blessing arrived. You thought the delay was rejection. It was preparation. You thought certain doors closed because you were forgotten. They closed because the person you were becoming could no longer fit inside them. You thought some people disappeared because you had failed. They disappeared because their role was connected to an earlier chapter, and heaven refused to let temporary people occupy permanent spaces. There were nights when you wondered why everything felt so empty. You looked around and saw fewer voices, fewer invitations, fewer familiar faces. You questioned whether you had become invisible. But you were not invisible. You were being separated from noise so you could hear the voice that had been calling you forward. The loneliness was not always punishment. Sometimes it was protection. The silence was not abandonment. Sometimes it was instruction. The waiting was not wasted time. Something was being built in you that could not be built in a crowd. And now they are beginning to notice the result. They see it in the way you carry yourself. They hear it in the way you speak. They feel it in the way you no longer rush to explain every decision. Your energy no longer asks for permission. Your presence no longer begs to be accepted. There is a calmness around you that cannot be faked, because it was purchased through battles no one saw. They see confidence, but they do not know about the nights you had to rebuild your identity one thought at a time. They see strength, but they do not know how many times you cried and still chose to continue. They see boundaries, but they do not know how much guilt you had to release before you could finally say no without feeling like a bad person. They see the new you, but heaven saw the process. Heaven saw you trying to hold yourself together while encouraging everyone else. Heaven saw you showing up for people while privately questioning whether anyone would show up for you. Heaven saw you giving love while wondering why love seemed so difficult to receive. Heaven saw every moment when you almost returned to what was familiar simply because the unknown felt frightening. Yet you kept moving. Even when your steps were small, you kept moving. Even when you doubted your progress, you kept moving. Even when nobody praised you, you kept moving. That is why something about you now feels different. You are no longer powered by applause. You are no longer waiting for people to validate what heaven has already confirmed. You are learning to trust the quiet knowing inside you, the sacred whisper that says, "Keep going." You are not who you used to be. Do not skip now, because the people who are shocked are not all shocked for the same reason. Some are shocked because they are proud of you. They remember when your eyes carried more sadness than hope. They watched you struggle to believe in yourself. They prayed silently that one day you would see what they could already see. When they look at you now, their surprise is filled with joy. They are witnessing your restoration, and something inside them knows that your story is proof that a life can change from the inside out. But others are shocked because your transformation has disrupted the version of you they preferred. They preferred the you who doubted your instincts. They preferred the you who accepted half-hearted effort. They preferred the you who made yourself smaller to preserve relationships. They preferred the you who could be persuaded to ignore red flags. They preferred the you who feared being alone more than being mistreated. That version of you was easier for them. But that version is not returning. And this is where the atmosphere changes. Someone who once believed they could always reach you is beginning to realize that access to you is no longer automatic. They have been thinking about the distance between who you were and who you are now. They may not say it, but your growth has forced them to confront themselves. Your boundaries have become a mirror. Your silence has become a question they cannot ignore. Your peace has revealed how much chaos they carried into your life. They expected you to chase them. You did not. They expected you to break the silence first. You remained still. They expected your compassion to erase the consequences. But compassion and consequences can exist together. Now they are replaying moments they once dismissed. They remember the times you tried to communicate. They remember the patience you offered. They remember how many chances were hidden inside your gentleness. They remember the way you slowly became quieter, not because you stopped caring, but because you realized your words were falling into a place where they were not being respected. They thought you were withdrawing temporarily. They did not understand that you were awakening permanently. Something huge is waiting for you, and this awakening is the doorway. You are entering a season where your identity will no longer be built around who stayed, who left, who chose you, or who failed to recognize your value. You are beginning to understand that being chosen by heaven means you cannot keep measuring yourself by human inconsistency. People change their minds. Heaven does not change its purpose. People overlook. Heaven remembers. People misjudge. Heaven sees completely. People may call you too much when they cannot meet you at your depth. They may call you distant when you stop giving unlimited access. They may call you proud when you no longer beg. They may call you different because admitting that you have grown would force them to examine why they have not. Let them notice the difference. You were not created to remain recognizable to every person from your past. Growth will make you unfamiliar to people who only knew your wounds. Healing will make you confusing to those who benefited from your pain. Peace will make you seem distant to those who only connected with you through chaos. But you are not lost. You are becoming aligned. There was a time when you believed transformation would feel dramatic, like one enormous moment that changed everything. But your transformation arrived quietly. It appeared in small choices. It appeared when you did not reply immediately. It appeared when you stopped checking whether someone had noticed your absence. It appeared when you chose rest without guilt. It appeared when you stopped returning to conversations that drained you. It appeared when you began speaking to yourself with kindness. The miracle was not only that your circumstances changed. The miracle was that you changed within the circumstances. You began to understand that your worth did not increase because someone finally recognized it. Your worth had always been present. The recognition was late. You began to understand that losing a connection does not always mean losing love. Sometimes it means losing a pattern that was blocking love from arriving in a healthier form. You began to understand that the ending you feared was actually the beginning you had prayed for. And now the evidence is visible. There is a light in you that was not there before. It is not the light of a person who has never struggled. It is the light of someone who walked through confusion and found clarity. It is the light of someone who stopped asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and began asking, "What is this teaching me about who I am becoming?" That question changed you. Instead of allowing rejection to make you bitter, you allowed it to make you discerning. Instead of allowing disappointment to close your heart, you allowed it to strengthen your standards. Instead of allowing betrayal to destroy your ability to trust, you learned to trust slowly, wisely, and without abandoning yourself. You are not becoming impossible to love. You are becoming impossible to manipulate. There is a difference. And someone is noticing that difference right now. They have seen something in your eyes, your words, your presence, or your absence that has awakened a deep realization. They are beginning to understand that you are no longer waiting where they left you. While they assumed your life had paused, you were healing. While they believed you would remain emotionally available forever, you were learning how to give that love back to yourself. While they delayed, doubted, or hesitated, you were becoming someone they may now feel unprepared to face. Do not misunderstand this message. Your transformation is not about making anyone regret losing you. Your growth is too sacred to be reduced to revenge. But it is true that when you change, those who underestimated you must face the consequences of their assumptions. Some will return with questions. Some will return with compliments. Some will return with apologies. Some will pretend they always believed in you. But the new you will not be hypnotized by words. You will watch patterns. You will notice consistency. You will listen for accountability. You will observe whether their presence adds peace or revives confusion. This is the wisdom you earned. And heaven is asking you not to abandon it simply because someone arrives with familiar eyes and a softer voice. Stay with this message, because the most surprising part is not that they are shocked by the new you. The most surprising part is that you have not yet fully seen the new you yourself. You still sometimes speak to yourself as though you are the person you used to be. You still occasionally doubt decisions that came from hard-earned wisdom. You still look at certain dreams and wonder whether they are too large for you. But heaven is looking at you differently. Heaven sees someone who survived an internal war without losing the capacity to love. Heaven sees someone who carried pain without turning pain into identity. Heaven sees someone who was delayed but not denied. Heaven sees someone who was hidden but not forgotten. You call yourself tired. Heaven calls you tested. You call yourself uncertain. Heaven calls you in transition. You call yourself behind. Heaven calls you positioned. You call yourself ordinary. Heaven calls you chosen. And chosen does not mean perfect. Chosen means willing. It means that even when you did not understand the road, you kept walking. Even when your faith felt small, you kept a small flame alive. Even when disappointment tempted you to close your heart, something in you still believed that better was possible. That belief became a seed. The seed became courage. The courage became action. The action became transformation. And transformation is now becoming evidence. Soon, people will not only notice that you have changed. They will begin asking how you changed. They will wonder what happened to the person who once apologized for existing. They will wonder where your calm came from. They will wonder how you became so grounded after everything designed to shake you. They may think it happened suddenly. But you will know the truth. It happened in private. It happened every time you chose not to return. It happened every time you prayed through confusion. It happened every time you stopped speaking death over your future. It happened every time you decided that the pain would teach you, not define you. This is why your next chapter carries a different energy. You are not entering it empty-handed. You are carrying discernment, courage, boundaries, humility, and a deeper understanding of who deserves access to your spirit. But there is still one final layer heaven must reveal. Because the transformation was never only about you becoming stronger. It was also about you becoming ready. Ready for a conversation that once would have overwhelmed you. Ready for an opportunity that once would have intimidated you. Ready for a connection that will require the healed version of you, not the desperate version. Ready for a level of responsibility that cannot be carried by someone still asking permission to believe in themselves. Something has been approaching you quietly. You may have sensed it in the restlessness. You may have felt it in the sudden desire to clean your space, change your routine, protect your energy, or separate from distractions. You may have noticed that what once entertained you now feels empty. You may have felt an unexplained urgency to prepare, even though you cannot yet name what you are preparing for. That feeling is not meaningless. A shift is near. And the people around you can feel it, even when they do not understand it. Some are drawn to you because your light is becoming stronger. Others are unsettled because your light reveals what they have avoided within themselves. This is why reactions to your transformation may become intense. One person may celebrate you. Another may criticize you. One may ask for advice. Another may accuse you of changing. Do not allow mixed reactions to make you question divine progress. The same light that guides one person can expose another. Your responsibility is not to control their response. Your responsibility is to remain aligned. There will be moments when the old version of you tries to return. It may appear as guilt when you say no. It may appear as fear when something good arrives. It may appear as the desire to over-explain your choices. It may appear as nostalgia for people who gave you more anxiety than love. When that happens, remember this moment. Remember that missing someone does not always mean they belong in your future. Remember that familiarity is not the same as safety. Remember that potential is not the same as commitment. Remember that being wanted is not the same as being valued. The new you understands these things now. And because you understand them, a hidden cycle is ending. A pattern that has repeated through different faces and different situations is losing its power over you. It always began the same way. You saw the best in someone, ignored what made you uneasy, gave more time, offered more patience, and slowly became responsible for holding together a connection that required two people. But this time, the ending will be different because you are different. You will not mistake inconsistency for mystery. You will not confuse emotional distance with depth. You will not spend months decoding what honest love would communicate clearly. You will not call anxiety intuition. You will not sacrifice your peace to prove your loyalty. That cycle has reached its final chapter. And when a cycle ends, something new must take its place. This is the revelation that will surprise you. The new you is not being prepared only to walk away from what was wrong. You are being prepared to recognize what is right. There is a difference between protection and isolation. Heaven protected you, but heaven does not want you to build permanent walls around a temporary wound. Your boundaries are doors with wisdom, not prisons built from fear. The new you will know how to say no without closing your heart. The new you will know how to move slowly without expecting betrayal in every shadow. You are learning balance. Strength without hardness. Love without self-loss. Faith without denial. Hope without fantasy. This balance will become one of your greatest gifts. And someone connected to your next chapter will recognize it. They will not be drawn only to your appearance, your success, or your confidence. They will be drawn to the peace you carry. They will sense that your presence feels different because you are no longer searching for someone to complete you. You are becoming whole enough to choose connection rather than dependence. But before that meeting, conversation, or opportunity fully unfolds, there is something you must know about the people who are shocked by the new you. One of them is closer than you think. They have been watching from a distance, quietly trying to understand what changed. They remember the old version of you. They remember how available you were. They remember how easily they could read your emotions. But now, they cannot predict you in the same way. Your peace has made you mysterious to them. Your boundaries have made them curious. Your absence has made them aware. And your growth has forced them to ask a question they avoided for a long time: what if I misjudged this person completely? That question is opening a door inside them. They are beginning to see moments differently. They are reconsidering what they once took for granted. They are recognizing that your silence was not weakness, your loyalty was not desperation, and your gentleness was never evidence that you lacked power. They now understand that you were powerful enough to be soft. And when softness is finally protected by wisdom, it becomes unstoppable. Do not skip, because this person may soon do something unexpected. They may reach out indirectly. They may ask someone about you. They may begin appearing in places where your presence is likely. They may send a simple message that carries more meaning than the words reveal. They may test whether the old access still exists. But heaven is warning you gently: do not respond from memory. Respond from alignment. Do not answer based on who they were. Watch who they are becoming. Do not open the door because they miss you. Notice whether they respect you. Do not let an emotional moment erase the lessons that required months or years to learn. Your heart is sacred, but it is not fragile. It does not need to be hidden. It needs to be guided. And that guidance is coming. In the days ahead, you may receive a sign through a repeated phrase, an unexpected conversation, a dream, a memory that surfaces without warning, or a feeling of certainty that arrives before evidence. Do not force the sign. Do not chase it. Simply remain present. What belongs to you will not require you to betray your peace. What is aligned will not demand that you become the old you again. What is real will not punish you for having boundaries. The next chapter will confirm the transformation, not challenge you to erase it. You have already passed through the hardest part, becoming unfamiliar to yourself while the old identity was dissolving. You felt suspended between who you were and who you were becoming. You could not go back, but you did not yet know how to move forward. Now the path is appearing. The confidence you thought you lacked is already within you. The courage you prayed for has been growing in your decisions. The new you is not coming. The new you is here. That is why the atmosphere around your life feels charged. That is why certain conversations feel different. That is why some people suddenly seem nervous, curious, distant, or unusually attentive. Your spirit has changed the way you occupy space. You no longer enter rooms asking, "Will they accept me?" You enter knowing, "I will not abandon myself to be accepted." That sentence alone has broken a chain. But heaven is not finished. There is one person whose reaction will be stronger than all the others. Their shock will not come only from seeing your confidence, your peace, or your growth. Their shock will come from discovering something they never expected. They are about to realize that while they were waiting for you to become who you used to be again, heaven was preparing you to become someone they may no longer have the power to reach in the same way. And the moment they fully understand what has changed, they will be faced with a choice. A choice that will reveal whether they truly value the new you, or whether they only miss the version of you they could control.